Hi there, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today we're strengthening the body, doing a fair amount of conditioning work into the core and the arms to make you mighty strong. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify where you need to, rest if you need to. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to set up for today's class coming into a seated frame. Set yourself up more or less in the middle of the mat with enough room to fully extend the legs out in front of you. You're going to take a seat on the mat, placing your fingertips behind you, maybe fingertips looking towards the end of the mat, or you can turn your hands in if you prefer. Just find a comfortable either high fingertip lean, or you can drop down onto the palms. You're going to open up your legs so that they're a little bit wider than hip-width distance apart, and you're going to start by giving me a knee drop side to side, dropping the knees to one side, maybe peeping over the other shoulder. Give me maybe 5 drops, and then end with the legs dropped to the left. Focus on the right knee and just gently flutter it up and down while keeping the whole foot connected to the mat. Just gently coaxing the hip flexors and the groin to open up. And then let's do that again, doing a drop to each side, maybe 5 or 6 drops. You're going to end for me with both knees dropped to the right. Pause and focus on your back leg. Take that left knee gently up and down, soft little butterfly flaps. Then find your way back to center. You can reposition the hands, maybe fingertips looking towards you. Give me a little L lean back, not rounding out and hollowing your belly, but just gently leaning off the center line. Come onto the tips of your toes, then drag the legs into full extension, keeping that L lean frame, and come back to your start position. Start to use your core to hold the frame. So pull the energy up from your pelvic floor all the way towards your waistline to keep that long L lean shape through your spine, pushing softly off the tips of your fingers. End in a little tuck and see if you can bring yourself into a modified boat line, bringing it into a tabletop line using your fingertips for support. Hold. If you're feeling strong here, you could even bring the legs into a full extension. Whether your legs were extended or in the little tuck, you're going to tap your toes to the mat and come up to a nice staff tall seat. Feet relatively close together, or you can open them up hip-width distance apart. You're going to just place your hands gently alongside your body. Maybe the fingertips are just gently connected to the mat. And you're going to sit up as tall as you can in staff pose, Dandasana. Think of squeezing the energy between the inner thighs together. Pull up really strongly from the pelvic floor towards the waistline and just hold your seat. Then relax the legs. Give them a little shake out. Now fist your hands, wrists looking into the center line. Place your fisted hands on the floor alongside your hips. Brace softly into your feet. Your feet are more or less hip-width distance apart. You're going to lean forward. So think of a little L lean forward instead of backwards. You're going to lean forward. You're going to look down towards your pubis, so don't look up. You're going to push off your fisted hands and try to lift your bum off the mat. Remember this little bum lift with your weight tilted slightly forward. We're going to be using it later in the class. Softly find your way onto the bum. Maybe give your hands a little starburst. Release the wrists. Let's start playing with some of those poses and clip them into a little vinyasa. Sit up nice and tall in staff pose. Float the arms out in front. Floating your heels off the floor, sending energy out through the heels of your feet and the tips of your fingers. Then fist your hands, bend the knees, draw the hands behind you, push up into a little tabletop position. And then see if you can come back down, maybe to a boat hold. Maybe sans hands, or you can use fingertips on the mat. Tap your toes to the mat and come back to your staff pose. Let's try to make it slightly more challenging. Take a big breath in to prepare. On the exhale, drop the arms alongside your body. Push up into your tabletop line. The next time you come down, you're going to push your bum back through your hands, pushing off the heels of your feet. Find your way back onto your bottom and find a little boat hold, tipping the weight just off your tailbone and trying to come into a little tabletop hold. Let's try that again. Tap your toes to the mat. Sit up nice and tall in staff pose. If you need to relax the arms for a minute, you can just place them alongside your body. Give me the tallest staff that you can. Think a long line through the spine. Then begin to fist your hands, drawing them slightly behind your hips. Bend the knees, connect the soles of the feet. Float your belly and your hips up towards the sky. Weight is evenly distributed between the arms and the legs. When you come down, you're going to think of pushing your bum through your hands, pushing off the heels of your feet, holding that little bum lift. Ease your way softly back to your bum and find a little boat hold. Pull up from your pelvic floor towards your waistline. Then tuck into a tight little ball, preferably toes hovering off the floor. If you need to, you can ground the feet. But we want to work that core. You're going to give me a soft fall back. So you're going to think of hollowing out your belly and rounding out your back, almost as if somebody had thrown a beach ball onto your belly and you've gone oof around the ball. You're going to fall back. You're going to give me a nice hollow frame. Core nicely engaged, and you're going to hold, extending through your fingertips and your toes. Then relax your whole body into the mat. Give yourself a recovery breath or two. Bend your knees. Connect the soles of your feet and set up a bridge line. Feet are not too far away from the body. Feet and knees hip-width distance apart. Arms long and lengthened at your side. Palms down with a comfortable neutral spine position. Take a big breath in to prepare. On the exhale, tilt your pelvis to the 12 o'clock position so that your lower back begins to imprint into the mat and you feel a nice little contraction into the core. Keep that core nicely engaged. Lead with the tailbone, curling it in towards your belly button as you start to peel your bum and your spine off the mat, floating your hips up towards the sky. Peel up into a bridge, keeping the legs supporting your frame, so you're working quads, you're working hamstrings, you're working glutes. Belly is nicely engaged. You're reaching long through your kneecaps. You're keeping your chin tucked softly towards your chest. You're not looking to the side of the room. And you're making sure that your feet and your knees stay hip-width distance apart. Remember this bridge line. Every time we come to it today, we'll add to the basic bridge, Setu Bandha. When you're ready to come down, relax that knot between the two shoulder blades and start articulating down one vertebra at a time, starting high and then peeling your way down towards the lower back, almost hollowing out and rounding out your back before tilting the whole pelvis to a neutral position. We're going to use some spinal rolls to come back into a seat, maybe tucking into a little ball frame, maybe bracing around your shins or behind the thighs, as you rock the weight back and forth, making sure that you're hollowing out your belly, rounding out your back so that you don't bruise the spine as you rock back and forth. Use your core, control through the core the whole time. And then drag the legs into extension and come into a really soft, lazy forward fold, Paschimottanasana. Maybe just draping your fingertips on the floor, bending and extending one leg at a time, and just giving the legs an opportunity to begin opening up. Then maybe holding steady with yourself softly draped on the mat. If you've got the range of motion, you can begin to connect around your feet. If the feet are not an option, just place your fingertips on the mat or maybe on the tops of your thighs. Sit up nice and tall. Find staff pose. The arms are soft and relaxed at your side. You're using your back, your spine, and your core to give yourself the tallest seat that you can, sitting up nice and tall with your shoulders stacked over your hips. The legs are active. The inner thighs are working, squeezing that energy between them. See if you can place your fingertips gently on the mat and drawing up the energy from the kneecap along your quad and the outsides of your legs and your lower abdominal. See if you can raise the right leg off the floor and hold for a few soft breaths. Then relax the leg to the floor. Give me an L, lean back and come into a little boat line. Fingers are just softly connected to the mat for support. See if you can extend the right leg and keep the left leg bent. Use your core to hold the frame. If this feels good, start to walk your weight back onto the elbows, almost coming into a fish hybrid. Maybe tapping your left leg to the mat, fully extending it, and then maybe bracing into the heels of both feet, pushing off your forearms, floating your chest up towards the sky, keeping your chin softly nodded towards your chest. Then push off your hands, come back into your original staff with a leg lift, maybe using the hands for support, and then start to bend your floating leg. Reach for it either with one hand or with two hands, and start coming into a half a happy baby by beginning to draw the knee in towards the armpit on the right. Maybe once the hips are sufficiently warm, you can tuck that knee in and hold, trying to keep that nice tall seat. So your core is working the whole time to keep your spine up nice and tall. Then maybe see if you can wrap your right hand around the inside of the foot as you come into that half a happy baby. Float the left arm out in front of you. Take a big breath in. On the exhale, you're going to extend the right leg in front of you and you're going to float the left arm behind you. Trying to keep both arms more or less at about shoulder height if you can. Keep that core engaged, so keep pulling your belly button gently into center. Then keep that leg extended. Bring the back hand over, cross it over the other arm, and see if you can hold onto the undercarriage of your foot, keeping that nice tall line through the spine. Then relax that leg to the floor. Find a nice high seat, maybe bracing softly on your shins. See if you can give me an L, lean back, tucking the knees in towards the chest, so you need to give me a strong contraction in the core. We're going to play with that little fall back into a hollow hold. So hollow out your belly, round out your back as you fall off the center line to give me a nice soft U-like frame. Your lower back is heavy into the mat. Your weight is off the shoulders. In fact, a lot of your upper back is off the mat as well, and you've got a nice hollow frame using your core. Softly melt back into the mat. Give yourself a recovery breath or two. And then when you're ready, set up your bridge line. Bend your knees. Connect the soles of your feet to the mat. Keep your feet and your knees hip-width distance apart and find neutral spine. Tilt your pelvis to the 12 o'clock position. Imprint your lower back. Find that core contraction. Keep that core contraction. Lead with your tailbone. Keep curling it in as you peel your bum and your spine off the mat. Once you've found the apex of your bridge, see if you can bring the two hands together along the midline of the body, maybe shifting or tucking the shoulder blades even closer underneath you, fisting the hands, pushing off the fist as you hold Setu Bandha bridge. Try not to lose the height of your bridge, making sure you've got the support of your legs to support your frame. Keep your feet and your knees hip-width distance apart and keep reaching long through your kneecaps as if you were trying to hook your kneecaps over the edge of your mat. Make the flattest belly that you can. And then when you're ready to come out, unclasp the hands, open up that little knot between the shoulder blades and peel down as slowly as you can, almost hollowing out your belly, rounding out your back, coming down one rib, one vertebra at a time. Find your way into neutral, and then use some spinal rolls to come back into a seat. As the body starts warming up when you're rolling, you can maybe bring it into a really soft forward fold and maybe a mini plow, drawing the knees over your nose, as if you wanted to tap your knees to the back edge of the mat, but just keep it really soft. Just gently beginning to mobilize through the spine, keeping as much bend in the knees as you need. Giving yourself a few gentle rocks here. Find your way back into your high seat. Find staff pose, sitting up nice and tall. Pushing maybe softly off your fingertips. See if you can lift the left leg off the mat. To bring the leg up, don't drive from your foot. Think of drawing up from the kneecap, along the quad, along the supportive muscles, along the inside and the outside of your leg. Bring it down. Bring yourself into a boat line. Give me a little L lean off the center line. See if you can keep the right leg bent and extend the left leg. You're pushing softly off your fingertips, but you're using your core to hold the majority of your body weight. Now see if you can walk your way back onto the forearms, pushing off your forearms, staying here with one leg bent and one extended, or ground your right foot fully extended. Brace into the heels of both feet. Try to grow your chest up towards the sky as you find a modified fish hybrid, Motsyasana. See if you can peel back up, coming into your one-legged staff. Then bend your floating leg, reach for the undercarriage of your foot with one or with two hands, and start to come into a little half a happy baby. Tucking that knee in towards your armpit, trying to keep your nice high seat, keep your support leg nice and active. Maybe holding your half a happy baby, Ardha Ananda Balasana. And then see if you can reach for the inside of your foot, so from the arch of your foot with your left hand, and hold your half a happy baby, sitting up nice and tall. Extend the right arm out in front of you. Take a deep breath in to prepare. We're coming into our little arrow. On the exhale, you're going to kick the left leg away, trying to keep that grip as you float the right arm behind you. Trying to keep the arms more or less up at about shoulder height. Look for that strength through your core. And then untwist your trunk. See if you can wrap your right hand, or rather cross your right hand over your left, reaching for the undercarriage of the foot and come into a modified heron bind Crouchasana. Sitting up nice and tall. Ease your way from here into a small tuck. And then hollow hold. So you're going to give me a little fall back. You're going to hollow out your belly, round out your back. Come into that soft U frame. Use your core. Hold for a few soft counts. Ease your way from here softly down onto the mat and set up your bridge line. Bending your knees, connecting the soles of your feet. Arms are relaxed at your side. Begin in neutral spine. Tilt to the 12 o'clock position and begin articulating up into your bridge line. Once you've found the apex of your bridge, maybe see if you can fist the hands behind you, maybe walking those shoulders in so it almost feels like you're pushing off your triceps. Try to nod your chin towards your chest. There will be quite a lot of compression into the chin area, so you really drop down, activating into your thyroid. Holding for a few soft counts, trying to breathe as deeply as you can into the front of your rib cage. Then unbind your hands, relax that knot between the two shoulder blades, and articulate down with control through the core, control through the spine. Find your way into neutral, and then use some soft spinal rolls, either keeping the legs bent the whole time or beginning to softly come into your forward fold and your mini plow. Maybe the legs are starting to warm up nicely now, and you can come into a full Paschimottanasana and maybe a little plow with your legs extended and hovering parallel to the mat. See where your body wants to be. And then in taking a little forward fold, maybe this time you can extend the legs, holding onto your feet, or maybe hands on the mat, or maybe you need to reach for a block. Place it between your thighs, lean in, or perhaps use the block and wedge it around your feet as you hold your forward fold. Find the forward fold that works for you, Paschimottanasana, and hold. Not worrying about how close your nose is towards your knees, but just making your whole chest nice and heavy to the floor, trying to breathe nice and deeply into the back of your ribs, keeping your belly button gently pulled in to center. Just allow the body to open up progressively. Then sit up nice and tall, find staff pose, Dandasana. Think of that length through the spine, maybe just starting by placing your hands gently on your thighs and looking for as much length and strength in the spine and the core as you can forge. Then look towards your extended legs and begin to bend the right leg, hugging it in towards your chest. Just give it a nice hug in, maintaining your high seat so you're not collapsing and rounding out like Quasimodo. You're sitting up nice and tall. And we'll use this frame as an opportunity to find Mariachiasana, a little seated spinal twist. For our first twist, you're going to twist towards your tucked leg. So you're going to reach with your left arm. You're going to hug that right knee in towards your chest. You're going to place your right fingertips on the mat. And you're going to keep hugging opposite hand to knee as you sit up as tall as you can, keeping your extended support leg braced and active. Make sure that the weight on your bum bones is even into the mat and that you're not leaning all of your weight into one bum bone. Then see what it feels like when you take the twist in the opposite direction. Placing your right elbow on the inside of the right leg, you're going to push with the back of your hand, you're going to resist with the leg. Maybe just extending your arm and sitting up nice and tall, using your core to maintain that nice high seat. Then utilize this frame as an opportunity to come into heron frame. This time, see if you can reach your fingertips for the outer quadrant of your foot. So you're reaching around from the pinky toe side and you're going to extend the leg out in front. You could use a belt or a strap to hold onto that foot if holding onto the foot freehand is not happening for you today. Then come back into your half a happy baby, sitting up nice and tall, tucking that knee in towards your armpit. Pause here, looking for that length and that strength through the spine. Then keep holding on to the outside of your right foot with your right hand and extend your left arm out in front. Take a big breath in. We're coming into arrow. This time you're holding from the outside of the foot. Extend the leg away from you as you float the left arm behind you, trying to maintain the tallest seat that you can. Pretend that you're a marionette and somebody's tugging your crown up towards the sky. Hold. Then come back towards the center line and step your right foot over your extended left leg. Twisting towards your bent knee, you're going to hug that knee in towards your chest. You're going to use your fingertips of the other arm to just prop your frame up nice and tall. And then keeping your legs crossed as they are, you're going to untwist your trunk and maybe just place the fingertips on the mat. We're going to use this frame to come into a baby grasshopper, Ananda Parsva Bhuja Dandasana. Whew, that was quite a mouthful. All right. So you're going to keep the step up of your legs and you're going to start falling or leaning towards your left, setting yourself up almost in a modified side plank. So you lying on your bottom hip, you've got that nice step up position on the right leg, and the left leg is extended nice and long on the mat in front of you. You're using your left arm to support your frame, not lounging into it, but softly pushing off and trying to keep an almost L shape through your spine. You're going to hold your side plank and just lean the body weight to the front. If this feels good, see if you can push off your stabilizing foot and lift your bum up off the mat. Remember when we played right in the beginning with that little bum lift? You leant your body weight forward and then bum off the mat. Hold there. If that feels good, you can try to add to the exercise. Come down. The next time you lean forward, see if you can wrap around your knee to maybe reach for your foot. Maybe you're holding onto the toes. Maybe you're holding onto the outer quadrant of the foot. You're going to keep leaning the weight forward, and you're going to lift your bum and your whole leg off the mat, pushing off your stabilizing foot as you come into your baby grasshopper. Then softly lead your way back down to the mat. Use both hands on the mat behind you. Come into a little tuck position, tucking both knees in. Find your core connection. You're going to give me a hollow hold. So you're going to give me a rounded body as you fall back into that hollow, soft U-frame. Holding for a few soft counts with a nice strong core. Reaching long through your fingertips and your toes. Maybe palms are looking up to the sky this time. Then softly melt to the mat. Find your way to your bridge setup, and we'll add to it. Set up your frame, begin in neutral. Tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock, imprint your lower back, and then start to peel up into your bridge line. Once you're at the apex of your bridge, maybe see if you can float the two palms together. Begin to tuck the two shoulders closer towards the midline of the body and settle into your bridge. Keeping your feet and your knees hip-width distance apart, start to play with the weight in your feet. Peeling your heels up off the mat and then maybe gently grounding them. Trying to shoot for a nice little bit of work into the core, so you're going to feel a little stretch into the lower belly as you play with the feet. Keep your chin tucked towards the chest. Do not look to the side of the room, please. When you are in your bridge line, you don't want to hurt your neck. You don't want to tweak it. Then relax the feet to the mat and interlace your hands. Open up that knot between the shoulders and slowly articulate down to the mat. Once you've reached the mat, you're going to just give me a little cradle rock, a side-to-side rock by hugging your knees in towards the chest. Just gently cradle rock your lower back out. And then we'll find a figure four position on the right and we'll play with it to bring ourselves back into a seated frame. Think of your bridge setup, but then take the right ankle, rest it on the left thigh, and splay the right knee open to the side of the room so that your legs resemble a figure four. You're going to hold this figure four frame through the legs and we'll play. Take a big breath in and start dynamically drawing your left knee towards your nose and then grounding the foot back into the mat. Give yourself a few dynamic lift and lowers of the left leg just to prepare the joints. And then hold knee to nose. Actively looking for that opposition and that work. Maybe scooping to peel up off your shoulders, looking through your legs. Then maybe bleeding your hands through to wrap around the outside of your left thigh. See if you can soften your head and your shoulders back to the mat, maybe softly drawing that left knee closer towards your nose. And then begin to dynamically extend and bend the left leg. End with the left leg looking up towards the sky and hold that stretch. Keeping your figure four shape through the legs, unwrap from the back of your left thigh, maybe holding onto your foot, maybe tucking it closer towards your hip line so that you're in more of a half lotus line. You're going to rock up and down. Maybe keeping that figure four shape. If this is too much for you, come back into the little tuck and just rock your body weight back and forth. So you play where you're comfortable. Maybe tucking that heel in closer and closer every time towards your hip line. Sit up nice and tall and come into a modified half lotus Paschimottanasana, folding forward, tucking that heel in as close towards your hip line as you can, and finding a comfortable spot for you. If you need to, you could even take a block, wedge it underneath your knee or your thigh on the right to support your half lotus frame. Take a soft little forward fold. And then maybe use this opportunity to come into a full half lotus, extending or rather bending your extend leg. You've still got the half lotus line on the right. And just give me a soft little forward fold, trying to connect your forearms and your palms to the mat. Or maybe you're just gently leaning forward. Maybe you're using a block and find a comfortable stack position to support your fold. Play with it. If you have made it down onto the forearms, sink your hips actively towards the back edge of your mat so that you can feel more activation into the front leg. Then gently peel up. Extend both legs out in front. Give them a little shake out and come into Paschimottanasana. Maybe wrapping around the legs. Maybe floating your elbows wide and trying to bring your nose a little bit closer towards your knee line. Breathe as deeply as you can into the back of your ribs and give yourself a few quiet moments in your seated forward fold, Paschimottanasana. Then bleed up into a nice high seat. Find staff pose. Sitting up nice and tall, maybe hands just placed on the top of your thighs. Use your spine and your core to maintain that high seat. Then keeping that sense of length through your trunk, bend the left leg and start hugging without leaning back. You're going to just hug that thigh in towards your chest, giving me the tallest spine that you can manage, and make sure that your support foot is nice and active. Use this as an opportunity to find Mariachi Asana. So twisting towards your bent leg, you're going to grab opposite arm to knee, and you're going to come into a soft little twist, hugging that bent leg in towards your chest, maintaining that nice tall seat. Then try the twist in the opposite direction. So as you begin to rotate your trunk in the opposite direction, you hook your left elbow on the inside of the left leg. You actively push with the arm and resist with the knee. Extend the left arm, reach through your fingertips, maybe dropping into the mat. And then just use your other arm to gently support your frame. Just gently place your fingertips on the mat behind you and try to forge the longest spine that you can. Give yourself a few gentle breaths here. Make sure the weight in your bum bones is even. Then let's find our little heron from here. You're going to reach from the outside. So with your left fingertips, you're going to reach for the outside of your foot, so on the pinky toe side, and you're going to try to extend the left leg out in front. Maybe you need to keep your hands on the mat for support, but give yourself more distance, so don't bring the arm too close. Maybe walk your hands away so that you can give yourself a nice tall spine. Lead your way from here into your seated half a happy baby. Maybe giving yourself a few dynamic knee tucks in towards the armpit and then holding the stretch. So tucking in as tight as you can, maintaining that nice tall seat. Make sure your support leg is working. Keep holding on to the outside of the left foot with the left hand and extend the right arm out in front. Take a big breath in. On the exhale, you're going to come into your arrow pose. You're going to kick that leg away as you float to look in the opposite direction. Then as you come back towards the center line, you're going to set up a modified mariachi. You're going to cross the left foot. You're going to step the left foot over your extended right leg. You're going to sit up nice and tall, hugging opposite arm to lead leg. Come up into a little nice tall seat. And then we'll use our frame to find that baby grasshopper one more time. Ananda Parsva Bhuja Dandasana. You're going to keep the cross of your legs as you untwist your trunk. Then start walking your weight towards the right and readjust yourself so that you're coming into a modified side plank. Pushing off your right arm, you're resting on your right hip, and you've got that little step up position on the left leg. Reach. So I'm going to give myself some more room. You're going to reach the left arm out in front of you. Then reach it out in front of you. See if you can push off your stabilizing foot and bring your hip off the floor. So you're almost piking your hips up nice and high towards the ceiling. Peel back down. Give yourself a recovery breath. Let's try to add to that. So the next time you lean forward, you're going to try to wrap around your front knee and reach for your foot. Maybe you're grabbing for your toes. Maybe you're grabbing for the outer quadrant of your foot. You're going to keep leaning the weight forward. You're going to lift your bum up off the mat, trying to pike your hips up and find your baby grasshopper. Peel your way gently back down to the mat. Unwrap, and as you unwrap, you're going to find your way into your little tuck, drawing the knees in towards your chest. Hollow out your belly, round out your back as you give me a full back, controlling through the core, giving me that nice hollow U-frame. Lower back imprinted, weight way off the shoulders, 6 or 8 pack working really hard. Relax into the mat. Give yourself a couple of soft recovery breaths. Then set up your bridge line when you're ready. Bend your knees, connect the soles of your feet. When you're ready, tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock. Articulate all the way up into your bridge line. Body should be a lot warmer, so you should be moving with a lot more fluidity. See if you can find that bind, fisting the hands behind you, pushing off your fisted hands, and then begin to play with your feet, floating the heels off the mat and re-grounding them. Getting a nice little bit of work into the belly area as you toe and heel. Then ground through the feet and interlace the hands. Start gently articulating back down to the mat. Once you've connected to the mat, maybe just gently hug your knees in towards your chest. Cradle rock your lower back out. And when you're ready, you're going to set up your figure 4 position on the left. Taking the left ankle, resting it on the right thigh, and allowing the knee to just splay out to the side of the room. Give me a few dynamic movements, just dynamically pulling the right knee towards the nose and then re-grounding the foot to the mat. Just give your hips and your pelvis an opportunity to become acclimated. And then maybe holding the knee to nose position on the right. Maybe gently scooping to peel up off your shoulders, look through the legs, then maybe feed the hands through to wrap around the outside of the right thigh and bleed your way back to the mat. Then begin to dynamically extend and bend your right leg as if you wanted to kick the ceiling away, and then relax the leg. End with your right leg long and lengthened and hold the stretch. Trying to keep your chin line as relaxed as you can. Try not to strain and tense your neck and your jaw. Keep the figure 4 position, but unwrap from the back of your right thigh. Reach for the left foot and try to tuck it in closer towards your hip line. You can support the knee if you need to as you rock up and down, or just hold on to the foot as you gently rock up and down. Sit up nice and tall. Come into a little figure four forward fold. Maybe just bracing your hands softly on the mat. Remember, you can support your frame by taking a block and wedging it underneath your thigh. Maybe you want to use the block to hook around your foot. So just play with it. See where you need to be. Give yourself a few quiet moments here, just breathing as deeply as you can into the back of your ribs. Then unwrap yourself, extend the legs long and lengthened, maybe give them a little gentle shake out. Before you come back into Paschimottanasana, just hold the forward fold, maybe draping around your feet, maybe allowing the elbows to track wider as you try to think of bringing your nose closer towards your knees. Just breathe as deeply as you can into the back of your ribs and enjoy the forward fold. Come back into your little tuck. We're going to find our way onto the back. Toes peel just off the mat. You're going to hollow out the belly, round out the back as you give me a little fall back to come into your hollow hold. Core working nice and hard to keep that soft U-like frame, maybe reaching long through your fingertips and your toes. Then relax to the mat. Give yourself a recovery breath or two. And then bend both knees and connect the soles of the feet to the mat. We're coming into an A-line stretch and you might need a strap for the next movement. Reach with your right hand, maybe taking the middle index finger and thumb and giving me a big toe lock, or you can wrap around the ball of your foot, or you can maybe take a strap or a hand towel and loop it over your feet. You're going to come into a little A-line stretch, maybe T-shaping your support hand. If you feel comfortable here, you could even extend your support leg and give me an active brace into both feet. Make sure that your whole back is nice and heavy into the mat. Try to have the weight as even as you can on both sides of your spine. So try not to lean everything aggressively to one side. Find a few quiet moments here, trying to open up that tight kink behind the right knee. Then when you're ready, take a big breath in to prepare. And on the exhale, drop the leg open to the right while you look to the left, coming into a beeline stretch, trying to keep your anchor inside, so your left shoulder and bum connected to the mat. Give yourself a few moments here. Make your whole back line nice and heavy into the mat. When you're ready, ease your way back to your A-line stretch. Bend the knee. T-shape your right hand. Reach with your left fingertips, and as you pull the knee across the midline of the body, bump your hips slightly to the right so that you can get more rotation through the hips. Easier to stack your right hip over your left and just draw the knee over into a C-line twist, taking your leg as far as it wants to go. When you're ready, gently unwrap, ground both feet. Bring your hips back to center and try the stretch on side 2. Extending your left leg for the sky, finding a toe or a foothold that works for you. Keeping your support leg bent, or maybe electing to extend and brace into both feet. Give yourself a few quiet moments here, trying to extend and open up the back chain of the left leg. Try to make your whole back line nice and heavy into the mat. Keep your jaw and your chin soft and relaxed. Don't tense your neck and your jaw. Take a big breath in, and then on the exhale, open up your leg as far as you can to the left while you look to the right, making sure you're staying grounded on your support side, so your right shoulder and your right bum stay connected to the mat. Give yourself a few quiet moments here. When you're ready to transition, find your way back to your A-line stretch and bend the right leg. T-shape both arms, and then take your right fingertips, reach for the outside of the left knee. As you draw the knee across the midline of the body, bump your hips slightly underneath you to the left so that you can get more rotation as you come into that soft supine twist. Lead your way gently back to center. Remember to ground both feet and bump your hips back into neutral. Maybe hugging the knees in towards the chest, cradle rocking your lower back out. And then using a modified spinal roll to come back into a seat. Maybe let's play with rocker. So bend the knees are open about hip width distance apart, brace behind your thighs. Float your elbows wide as you rock your weight up and down. Thinking hollow belly, rounded spine. Almost try to forge a little rocking chair-like frame with your body. In seated, sweep the legs underneath you, coming to a seat of your choice, maybe thunderbolt, with the knees together and the feet together, and just sitting back on your heels, or maybe taking a block, opening up the knees, feeding the block through, and finding a seat on your block. You're going to relax the hands into your lap. Ladies, left hand on top of right, with the thumbs gently touching. Gents, right hand on top of left. Sit up as tall as you can, finding a comfortable neutral spine position. And we'll end with a little sitkari or hissing breath. You're going to be inhaling through the mouth and exhaling through the nose. Close your eyes, take your focus inward, and listen to the voice prompts. Softly purse your lips and gnash your teeth, and think of softly drawing up air between the gaps between the teeth. So you're going to make a soft hissing sound on the inhale that sounds something like this. Then close your mouth and exhale silently through the nose. Give yourself a few rounds of sitkari hissing breath. Keep finding that rolling breath pattern. Give yourself at least 3 more rounds of sitkari breath, keeping your spine in neutral, but trying to forge a long, beautiful, almost swan-like line through the neck. Make this your last round of sitkari hissing breath. Keeping your eyes closed and your focus in, give yourself a few recovery breaths, inhaling and exhaling through the nostrils, keeping your breathing long, soft, and relaxed. Keep your eyes closed and your focus inward as you bring your hands to prayer mudra in front of your heart, maybe allowing for a soft elbow line today as you just push softly into your hands, finding that beautiful hum of prana, of energy that flows in the body as you push the 2 palms gently against each other to connect to the source of that energy. Namaste to you. Thank you so much for coming out and joining me today. Hope you enjoyed today's class. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Shoot me your comments. Make sure your notifications are on and be ready for playtime on the mat tomorrow. Till then, keep it light.